crazy amount of money I've made jumping off a horse, wrestling a steer, a cow, man. I tackle farm animals for a living, and he has provided for it through that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Grandma wanted me to go to college because we're going to need to enter the workforce one day. I might not ever work for somebody because rodeo provided opportunities that nobody saw coming. That's huge.
Welcome back to the Let's Freakin' Rodeo podcast presented by Boot Barn. Today on the show, we have Kyle Irwin, steer wrestler, 2022 NFR average champion, 6-time NFR qualifier, man of God. Just an amazing conversation me and Ty got to have with them. We didn't even really get into steer wrestling until like halfway through. We just talked about many different topics, had a lot of fun. So we're so excited to have him on the show. Another thing, guys, we're coming up on 1 year of Let's Freakin' Rodeo, 1 year of the podcast. We're a few weeks away from that. But we want to know y'all's feedback going into year 2. What do y'all want to see more of? What do y'all want to see less of? What guests do y'all want to see? Any feedback that you can think of, leave us some comments. Let us know. We want to try to implement them in year 2, provide a better experience, and just create an overall better show and create the best show we can for you guys. Let us know. God bless. And Let's Freakin' Rodeo. See you in the episode.
The JUCO I went to, there is a known for its baseball program.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys would take classes during Christmas break to get their GPA up.
Yeah.
And I had a buddy of mine that went to a college somewhere in Alabama. He was like, "Hey, dude, I'm enrolled at your school right now." He was just trying to get his, and the Dominicans did it. They play baseball.
Really?
Yeah.
So, how did you get recruited to that? When did you start rodeoing?
And I started rodeoing when I was 11. I've been around horses, cows my whole life. Played baseball, football, soccer, track, all that good jazz. Then when I was 11, I started shoot dogging, broken calves.
Gotcha.
And then whenever I got to high school, I quit all the other sports.
Really?
Well, yeah. We weren't very good.
You weren't very good at sports?
All right, so I'll put it to you like this, and we can't say this when the mic's hot. We can, because this is neat. So I played football against Julio Jones his whole life.
No.
Yeah, he went to school in Foley, Alabama, 10 miles from me. We were rival schools. My school was white country boys. Julio's school was athletic, fast guys. Daphne, Alabama. TJ Yeldon came from Daphne, Alabama. Daphne's 15 miles from my house. There's 7 or 8, 6, 7A schools in my county.
Wow.
And we were the countryest. Baseball, we had them. Basketball, football,
You probably golf. You probably had.
Oh, yeah, we had.
Swimming for sure.
Swimming. Yeah.
Rodeo athletes.
We had that high school, Robertson High School, my senior year, there was 5 or 6 of us that graduated with college scholarships.
Wow.
It went west.
So y'all run a lot of cows down there, don't you? You ranch a bunch?
Order buying business.
Order buying.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So is your dad was into that, or your whole family, or how did
my in-laws? So my family, my mom's side, my dad's side, farming, cattle, that type thing. My wife's family, and y'all interviewed a guy a few years back who's married to Joni Gabriel.
Stephen Perry.
Joni's dad and this man here, my wife's granddad, were partners. He sent him to Florida. He went down there producing rodeos. The Steiners backed him. Buck Steiner, which would be rockers like great-great-granddaddy or something, backed him. They sent him down there. His horses got quarantined in Florida. My wife's grandmother, that was always the story. They went to Cuba and put on a show for Del Castro. She's a trick rider. Bonifay just shared it on their deal because Bonifay's rodeo is coming up. Come back into Florida, get quarantined, got to stay there 30 days. So they worked the entire state, working at sale barns, working rodeos, secretary of trick riding because they couldn't leave the state. He calls Gabriel, who's in Seguin, Texas, says, "You won't believe what cattle are costing down here. Send me a truck." A month later, he had land and a business and never left Florida.
What a story.
Yep.
So you go down in the winter and spring and go help them throughout that and kind of circuit rodeo. And
Yep. And I love the Southeast Circuit because I live in Florida. I get a lot of people. It's a long ways, from Springdale to Davie, where our circuit finals is. It's closer for me to maybe go to Dallas or something like. It's a long ways down there.
Yeah.
But I get to be home. I get to work. The weather's nice in the winter. I go to about 5 Texas rodeos, and I've beat up the state of Florida.
Gotcha.
Just up and down the road, just all those rodeos. And then my circuit count's done when I leave.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad at my traveling partners because I ain't been with them all winter.
That's a big deal.
And I used to think, I wish I lived closer to Texas. It takes me a day to get to Texas. And, I'm rode down, everybody's fresh when we're starting out. But really, them guys, they got to come stay in Texas all winter.
Yeah.
It's good for you. But you still got to be gone a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I gotta be gone a little bit. It's 4 or 5 hours. I don't know. I think it's a huge advantage to live up here like Utah, Idaho, Washington, Oregon. You get to sleep at your own bed a lot.
Me and my dad were just talking about that. You know, they could treat their circuit rodeos like I'm going to the amateur and my circuit rodeos when I'm done. I'll go to them. I'll always be involved with sport and in the game. But these guys, they get to circuit rodeo at Spanish, Ogden, Tremont. Good gosh.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Clint Robinson will go to 20, 25 rodeos a couple hours from his house that add over 10,000. I mean,
that's incredible.
Yeah.
What's the state of the Florida rodeos? Honestly, I've only heard of it as Ocala, Florida, or what?
Arcadia. Is that
Arcadia?
Yeah.
Kissimmee. You go to that one.
I've been to Kissimmee, Arcadia, Okeechobee,
so you go
Brighton.
To what are you, 2, 3 Florida rodeos a year?
Yeah.
Maybe. Florida rodeo, what is it like?
One, it's the oldest, you know what I'm saying? That's where it started. The cattle and the horses come in from here. They come up from Mexico. And so it's pretty grounded in agriculture, huge. Cattle used to be huge. Now they farm and grow subdivisions. You know, these little houses by each other. Used to it was cattle and oranges and any kind of produce you can think of. And so all these rodeos have 80, 90, 70 something year long history. Yeah. And everybody used to go down there. You know, you hear about John W. Jones Jr. You hear about, you could ask Clay O'Brien Cooper, you ever been to Kissimmee? But used to the old Kissimmee Arena, they say, is as big as Cheyenne is. It was huge. You know, now these rodeos have changed much, have added so much.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I always tell the people in Florida because I want everybody to come down there. I would love if guys went to Florida like they do California and stayed a month.
Yep.
Stay a month.
Yep.
And we're getting rodeos like this. Nashville, Montgomery's up their game. Arcadia now has. You're getting some rodeos that'll make guys look that way, but as long as you got Mercedes, Austin, Houston, all that stuff going on, we got to pick.
Yeah.
And I try to tell them, what can we do to get guys come back down here? You got to.
You got a lot of racetracks down there. Put a rodeo on the racetrack. That's a big thing.
Hey, the Ocala's got one of the nicest state-of-the-art places now. I haven't been to it yet, but it's the World Equestrian Center. There it is. Yeah. In Ocala. And they say that thing, like in your stalls, it's got a little vacuum that sucks up the manure. Like, no rodeo. I think they heard through the grapevine what we can do to a facility. So no rodeo. I think they've had a cutting, a bunch of barrel races, and then obviously...
Need to know. Florida man, clearly. A lot of roots, a lot of ties.
Yep.
But they call you the Alabama Slammer.
Yep.
Those are if it's SEC football, them are fighting words.
Hey, they are big time. And I'll tell you how that transition. So from Alabama, lived there my whole life. And I married this gal that's just right across the state line. I mean, it ain't far, 2 hours. Matter of fact, if you go north from my house, it's like 15 miles and you're in the Alabama line. So I'm not far from Alabama. If you were to ask my mama, she'd tell you I moved 7 states away. You know what I mean? If you ain't in the backyard, mama ain't happy.
Literally.
But for years, I would always, because I've lived there 10 years now. And this is the first year I've rode under the Florida flag. Because every year when you're buying your card, renewing your membership, hometown. Robertsdale, baby. And my mom's running for mayor, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, the election's in 2 weeks.
What's her name?
Ruthie Campbell. Vote for Ruthie.
Vote for Ruthie.
Yeah.
Ruthie, man.
But her whole family, my whole family's from Robertsdale. Big family. My granddaddy had like 32 first cousins. Like, I got a big family. But this year, for some reason, I'm filling it out. Westville, Florida is my mailing address, everything. Hometown. I just put Westville, Florida. And hey, man, those folks down there in Westville, Bonifay, they adopted me. They love it.
Your mama was upset.
Mama don't like it.
I was going to say, when's the first time they stuck the Alabama Slammer nickname?
All right. So when I was in college, I worked for a man, and he called me Slammer. Blade is another nickname. Blade is actually my middle name. And I always say my outlaw buddies call me Blade, but we changed the names to protect the innocent type situation. And but Blade's my middle name, and so that kind of picked up when I was in college. But a guy I worked for, he would always call me Slammer. What's up, Slammer? What's up, Slammer? And I don't know how, but Boyd Paul Amos at the college finals one year, went around and did let the air out of one. It was sweet. And Alabama Slammer, and he played Sweet Home Alabama, and he said, this guy doesn't want flapjacks for breakfast. You got to stay hungry for the Crimson Tide or something like that. And they played Sweet Home Alabama. I'm not an Alabama fan, not even a little bit.
Really?
War Eagle, baby.
Oh, Auburn.
It's tough at times. I get it. And we're getting there. Come on, Hugh Freeze.
Cam I'm sorry. I've seen. Did you see that new documentary? SEC documentary.
They're already hard on. The season ain't even started yet. I get it.
Well, they said Cam Newton's got all them kids. They better grow up and get a quarterback.
They're alumni. We need to find that.
Hang around 10 more years. He might have some.
Yeah, booster programs get a different meaning now.
Golly.
Send him to Florida, get him right, and then we'll send him up here to Auburn.
True locals, are they Auburn people? And then kind of Alabama's the national people out of the state kind of coming?
Well, your true locals, really it'll go to what they do. You know, if guys were farming cattle, Auburn's ag school. That's what my boy, when he asked me.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's like the A&M of Alabama.
Yep, Florida Gators, ag school. Florida State, not so much. Alabama, they teach business and something else over there. I don't know. You know, the distance on the map between those two schools isn't far, and it's one of the biggest rivalries.
For sure.
I'm talking about I've gotten knocked down dragouts with my buddies when we were in high school and stuff. You know what I mean? It's what you grew up in the Southeast. It's football. I love rodeo. Worst time to try to put on a rodeo in the Southeast is heavy fall.
Yeah.
Because Friday, you're going to have high school games. And I learned that in the ERA, believe it or not, 2016. I learned a lot in that association through production. But the fall's not good because of football, man. Friday night, you got high school games. Saturday, you got Little League.
Yep.
And all day Saturday, you got college games.
You're a pretty big athletic dude. Were they upset when you quit sports to go rodeo?
When I hit my growth spurt, yeah. When I played 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. I was quick. I was little. I was one of the fastest. And believe it or not, I played D-line. But it was because I could get through the line pretty fast. And then we got freshmen in high school. Everybody hit a growth spurt except Kyle. And so, you know, then it wasn't as fun. And then you're losing. You win as a team, you lose as a team, that whole deal. But then, you know, rodeo, I could put it all on myself.
Yeah.
So that was when I kind of walked away. And our coach, he did make us, we had to keep running cross country. Our soccer coach was our cross country coach too. And they didn't like it when practicing. And that was fine. He understood that and he was glad we were still involved in some kind of sport. But we had to run cross country. And the training for that was crucial. But really, he needed numbers because we had 2 or 3 guys that could really run. You know, they were getting first, second, third. We just needed numbers for the schools. All of us Cowboys back there breathing hard, bringing up the rear.
Bringing up the rear?
Yeah, every time.
How'd you get out of Alabama without that southern drawl accent? You know,
it has a little bit of it.
Not much, though. I mean,
everybody made fun of me. Nah, I'm kidding. When I went to Oklahoma, you know, right away, you got to learn to enunciate and talk because I hate repeating myself. And then I don't care. You can make fun of me. I make fun of myself. One, I think if you can't laugh at yourself, you take things way too serious anyways. But 2, like I can laugh myself. And I mean, people all the time, what is he saying? And then 2, if you're on the phone, you know, push 2 for English, you better enunciate with that next person that comes on there.
That's probably not their first language is English usually.
One of the first ones my sister made fun of me for was I came home, I said 5. You know, I know 5. What'd you say? I said 5. Yeah, it's 5. Okay, 5. The number 5, but I was 5. 9. Why are you saying 9?
Well, you had trouble with the equestrian there. So
yeah, you're right.
So, I can imagine. But why? Maybe a simple question. Why steer wrestling? Obviously, was that just the best event you had at growing up?
No, calf roping was. I love roping calves. Had the poster of Fred Codiol on my wall. Herbert Terrio, you know, grew up going to amateur rodeos around there. He was still entering no markets very well, man. Dear friends of our family. And I love roping calves. But one thing calf roping that is not as common is the mount business. Mm-hmm. And you know as good as I do, you got to be mounted, and them things cost money. You know, and we didn't just have the deepest pockets. So I did it as long as I could. And there was an old man, his name was Mr. Bubba Cox. He lived probably 15 minutes down the road, and he had an older horse. He let me come practice, let me take that horse to the rodeos, and taught me so much. It did horsemanship, and I love roping calves. But then you get to that next level. You know, maybe this horse gets older, you got to get another horse. And it got tougher, but I was still competitive, wanted to do it. But then you would insert a man by the name of Bo Campbell. He's no longer with us. He would be a distant cousin of mine. That's part of that big family I'm talking about. And he owns now his family runs it, a rodeo business, rodeo company. They put on amateur rodeos called the PCA. And right away, you know, from being family, he recruited me. I was shoot help. I got to compete. But for the most part, we were toting panels, we were loading stock at all these rodeos in the Southeast, and we got a bulldog, and he had horses. He loved rodeo. He loved bulldogging. He did, and he puts on a clinic. They do a clinic now every year during Thanksgiving, and a lot of different people have done it over the years. Victor Deck, Bill Pace did it years ago. Those are two guys from Alabama made the NFR in the steer wrestling. Steve Duhon did it for a couple years. I've heard of the last 40 years it's been going on, these different guys that did it. And when I was starting, Steve was the clinic, he was the teacher. And so the first steer I jumped was at Bo's Bulldogging Clinic, and Steve was I guess we call the instructor, yeah. But all of Bo's boys, he's got some sons, Will, Luke, my cousin Quinn, that'd be a cousin of theirs. All of them bulldogged right there around Robertsdale. It'd be a little community called Rosington, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And if you wanted to rodeo and you was around Robertsdale, whether you like bulldog or not, you were going to jump steers. I mean, that was just kind of the deal. Because one, Bo, he needed you at the rodeo. He's going to use you. But two, I mean, looking back, it's perfect. It's just what I needed. And so I even tried saddle bronc riding.
No.
Yes.
Is there a video of this?
No, I hope not. God, I hope not.
Why are you 35? They would need to get the VHS out for that.
We had one. It came with a microphone and everything.
How bad was it?
It wasn't bad. Honestly, I should have went to a school they put on in Goodwell, Oklahoma. The Etbauer Clinic. I should have. And Bo and Robert were actually good friends. And they swapped horses, calf horses, bulldogging horses, bucking horses. When Robert and them had bucking horses, that's where Bo got a lot of his string back in the early 2000s, came from the Etbauers. But I didn't. I went to a clinic that probably didn't have the best, advice for me at that age. And I tried. I got on a few. It didn't work out. And then I hit that growth spurt and I started bulldogging. But I loved it. And here's why.
Guys, we're going to take a quick break from the podcast. I'm going to tell you about the presenting sponsor, Boot Barn. Those listening on audio and not watching this little iPhone video right here, we are in beautiful Livingston, Montana. And if there's two things you think of the Western way of life, one of the top two is Montana. The second one better be Boot Barn, people. Boot Barn's mission is to feed America, protect America, and serve America. Doesn't matter if you're in Montana, New York. If you want a part of the Western way of life, Boot Barn's how you get it. Boot Barn has over 450 store locations nationwide. They sponsor over 600 rodeos per season. So next time you see one of them Boot Barn signs driving down that road, why don't you peel off down there, go in the store, get you some nice boots, nice jeans, nice shirts, look sharp, let's clean up. Or better yet, go online at bootbarn.com, shop what you need. Doesn't matter if you dress like Ty, me, or anything in between. Boot Barn has what you need. Okay, we're rhyming out here, baby. Boot Barn is changing the game. They're sponsoring this podcast, and we appreciate the support so much. Thank you for watching. Let's get back to the podcast.
An old man told me one time, every event, it says champion of whatever on the buckle. All around buckle is the only one that says cowboy.
Yep.
And I wanted to be a cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I wanted all of it. I wanted the big ranch, just as a kid dreaming growing up. And time as fast as Fred and Cody and Joe did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And throw them like Steve did, and those guys that in the early 2000s when you were watching NFR.
For sure.
Rod Lime, that was what I wanted to do it all. I even liked team roping for a little bit.
I was going to say, did you ever get to go to the town event or try to?
No. And it would be fun. I wouldn't do it now just because somebody else should deserve the spot.
Yeah.
I got 3 kids, a lot going on. I feel like you got to put in a lot of work to get ready to be competitive at that.
No doubt.
When I was in college, I did one. They didn't have tripping, and I come in second, believe it or not. Road calves, head, heel, bulldog, and it was fun.
Yeah.
And then there was rumor that they were going to have one, and this is something you do. And you got to do those 4 events on the same horse. And everybody talks about that, yeah. And so that was when I was in school at Alva, and Trell Atbauer, Trell's going to be another guy. When I was young, he's just a little bit older than me, but I watched him. They called his name, you went to the fence to watch him in any event. Seth Schaefer was another dude when I first got to college. He went to school in Goodwell, rode broncs, rode calves, bulldog, and was in the short round in every event. And I always thought that was so cool, which I'm glad the bronc riding didn't work out. Because, dude, if my little old country self would have come to Oklahoma trying to ride bucking horses, ain't no way.
Those guys are different over there.
Yeah.
The will to win. You were going to find a event to be the best at, and you're like, no, yeah, steer wrestling. I mean, is that correct?
Hey, that's it. And like I said, we tried everything, and your folks went above and beyond. They do everything they can financially to set you up like this. And I was able to, like I said, all the way through high school, I was competitive. I think the best I probably ended in the team rope and the cab roping was 5th. I never went to nationals in those 2 events in high school, but I was always a contender for the all-around. 2nd, 3rd. I never won. Alabama had they gave away a trailer to the all-around champ. And that was so cool. And I remember it was my senior year. I'm fixing to leave to go to college, and we had one trailer, the family trailer. And my sister was, really hoping I'd leave it. So I was pouring all my eggs into this. We were working at it a lot my senior year. And I ended up 2nd. I think didn't win. I think Nelson Wyatt won it. Which looking at it now, I mean,
actually,
yeah. No,
how old is he?
So I'm 35. I bet Nelson's probably 32.
Oh, really? I didn't.
Yeah, I think he was a freshman my senior year, maybe sophomore. He's not much younger than me. He probably grew up 4 hours.
Two bald-headed Alabama NFR studs.
I know it.
Yeah. Okay, so Rodeo for Dummies.
Yeah.
If you had to explain what the timed event is and its significance in the sport of rodeo, what would you say that is?
All right, sweet. Are you a football fan? Sure, I'm a football fan. Okay. The timed event is you're going to play the quarterback position, the receiver position, the running back position. We're also going to put you on the D-line and cornerback. And you got to do all 5 of those positions better than the next guy.
That's good.
I mean, for real. I think that'd be a simple way to put it. Or I want you to work, to let's say a construction worker or something right here. Hey, today you're going to do framework. You're going to do this. Oh, so it's like an all-around deal. Well, yeah, kind of, but
and see who's the best at it.
Yeah,
that's a heck of a competition. I've always wanted to do that. I mean,
correct me if I'm wrong. I always get it wrong when they label somebody an All-American athlete. What are the qualifications to be an All-American? Would that be one if you won that competition?
Surely.
What's the significance going back the last 20, 40, 50 years, as long as you can remember? Is that kind of like a badge of honor for Cowboys if you win the time event?
Yes, I think so. I think, one, it displays your horsemanship. And to me, that is the biggest key to today's youth, even grown folks. We can constantly be working on ourselves, but it's the horsemanship. 2 would be the read of cattle. I said I work in a feedlot situation every day. It's an order buying barn, but I'm around cattle all the time. And I'm do the same thing. Not, what I mean? Like they do it's, and the timed event, you got to be able to read that cow. Now, 2, I would have to explain Rodeo for Dummies that this is a long score in a big arena. So now what does that put into play? Well, that puts all kind of variables into it. Oh yeah. In one event, you got a hazer. And other event, you got a healer and a header. And if they screw up, you don't get any kind of well, it's okay. There ain't
no mulligans. I mean,
no, it would be, that's an interesting way to put it. Rodeo for Dummies on that deal would be, yeah.
I got one for cattle. So you were talking about how you're around them all day, every day. Has that played a big part in rodeo and the problem with getting steers from Mexico and the price of horned cattle now? How big of a part has that played in the rodeo, the summer rodeo? And I mean, steers older, you getting used more. What's that like?
Huge. I think one rodeo, for instance, and this is no slander on this rodeo by any means, but we just noticed it this year was Salinas, California. To make the short round of steer wrestling was the longest time I've ever seen. I said, what the heck is the deal? Is it something? Maybe the best horsepower didn't go out there. Maybe this, maybe that. I think they said that those steers had more runs on them because of the steer situation. Yeah. So in July, we saw steers at a rodeo that normally they're a little fresher, and the bulldoggers this year, man, they're almost trained. Well, and that's fine. That's one rodeo. But now let's transition into what we're coming into the fall when cattle normally start to unravel anyways. These cattle have been getting used way sooner. You'll start seeing more injuries in people. I talk about reading steers, and we'll ask somebody, you ran him yesterday. What did he do? He might do something different. Yeah, I mean, really.
He might today. He might just say, I'm done.
He really might, and so that border deal's crazy.
What is the situation there? I mean, do you know anything about it?
Well, they just say it's this New World screwworm, a fly, I think that's pretty bad business as far as what he does to healthy cattle, not necessarily, or if there's a cut on one, I'm not really exactly sure, but they say it's a real deal. But then you hear, the border's open. It's open for 24 hours. Or the border's open. how much of that's political? How much of that is, you know what I'm saying?
Come on, Trump. We need some cattle across here from Mexico.
Yeah, I mean, Secretary of
I like what you're
Agriculture
doing. Keep doing. Good job.
Right.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Right.
We need some cattle.
We need some cattle. And this affected the feeder cattle market.
Oh,
You know, and I was joking with
It's through the roof right now.
oh
Right?
man, I was joking with Mr. Dan Mundorf here at Caldwell the other day during the breakaway. I was like, what do you think about that $1,800 trotting down the arena and these people chasing after him? Oh, please stop. No,
and bubble wrap your calves.
I mean, yeah, but too, I guess everybody's looking at the board and playing all these numbers, and apparently it's working because nobody's quit putting their hand up at sell barns.
Yeah, they're bringing them on the back end, but at what point does it slow down or do something? I don't know. I know nothing about cattle, ain't trying to. I know we got a lot of actual ranchers and actual cattle people that listen to the podcast. I'm just a fan, and all I have to do is buy rope and calves, but I know I got to spend a lot of money for them right now.
Literally.
Yeah.
I want to know Hazen, steer wrestling, long scores, Salinas, timed event, other rodeos like that.
Cheyenne, I mean,
Cheyenne.
What's it? He's asking what's
No, I want to know. I know my question.
Well,
I'm
hear it. Get to
Does
it.
the danger factor rise for longer scores?
It does, in the sense that, one, you better be riding a broke horse. So used to, we ran steers had big horns that were older. When you looked at them, their back legs would be crossed or switched on their tail, would be dragging the ground. You know, it was more flat gate shoots, you know, it was kind of go behind them and catch them right there. Now, and this isn't a bad thing, but I think it has a little something to do with the team roping industry and how big it is. Now we're having to run smaller steers, so we got to cross them earlier because we need more of them. And so we're riding these horses off the track or they're bred to run. Ain't got maybe, and then we're pushing them. And you got to have one pay attention because of those rodeos. And like this year at Salinas, you saw them cattle, instead of more running away from you, now they're trying to get out of the being boxed in. So now you're wide open running 2-1 and with no left-hand blinker here, he steps left. Yeah, Flip City. I flipped 3 horses before.
Flip City.
I'm telling you, it ain't no fun, but they just cut your wheels out from under you. Your horse is stretched out running. It is.
That's the scariest.
No, it's funny, but
it's
a funny joke you made, but it's dangerous.
It is. You know,
it's scary.
And I can say it because I've done it, like I said, 3 times. Once on the Hazen side, twice on the Bulldogging side. And none of those 3 times did I mean to do it. It just out of nowhere, steer come under me, or maybe a young green, one of them was a green horse, kind of come across me, and legs got tangled up. Next thing you know, you're rolling, you know, in a ball of dust. Come on, everything's standing up like, daggum. Well, imagine doing that at Salinas, Cheyenne. We ain't even mentioned Pendleton.
Yeah.
Do you like Pendleton? Do you enter?
No, I enter it. And I went last year, made the short round. I've won an average check out of there now, and I've won a go round check. And like, they're my buddies. I love them. But like Dalton Massey, Jesse Brown, them guys, we just love Pendleton. Everybody gives me a hard time about being from Alabama. You're redneck. I told them, I said, that's the most redneck thing I've ever seen. You ain't got to shoot. There's a lady chases that joker off a hill, and we just run him out in the middle of the football field and tackle him. Definition of redneck.
Is it the the slacks notorious for wet grass, slipping horses and all that? Is it I feel like probably steer wrestling is the safer one of time events.
You know, honestly, you don't see as many wrecks with horses there. Somehow the horses come up, but you see guys wreck out there.
More injuries.
You know, whereas Salinas, you can get away, baseball slide, you got a cherry on your leg for a couple of days, but not that bad. That rodeo, the grass plays so much into it. You know what I mean? You might catch one perfectly.
Slide 20 feet.
And all of a sudden hit a divot that Ty Harris put in the Kev rope 2 hours earlier, and I'm on my forehead just, what happened?
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of variables. Once again, you're riding a good broke horse, good hazer. I always tell everybody, Pendleton ain't that scary if you hit the start. Because if you hit the line, he's right there. But when you miss it, now, you know, he's going everywhere. I remember right. I don't blame steer. I told Wade the other day, I said, if I was a Bulldog steer, I'd either be the worst one or the best one. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to get rid of me, or I'm just for the high school kids to run. But
So what are you, 9th right now?
Yep.
Placing the first day money over here. Any other good this week?
No, I didn't, man. Honestly, I've been drawing great, and everywhere else I went, I didn't draw that good.
So what do you think it's going to take to make it? You got 96,000?
92.5. I guess after that, I'll have right at 95. So honestly, I think that's safe. But my goal for the season is 135. I don't know why I picked that number this year. I knew that ain't going in number 1, but you know as well as I do, you get to that building, you can make up some ground,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So, and I never have been one of the guys to look at the standings just because I feel like it adds extra pressure.
Yeah.
Reason being, I witnessed it one time. I won't say his name, but I watched a guy I was rodeoing with. This was years ago. Me and him were right on the bubble, and he was like, hey, we're 13th and 14th. We just got to stay ahead of boom, boom, boom. The next day, we went to a slack. Boom, boom, boom was 3-8, 3-7, 3-6. My buddy was 3-2 plus 20 trying to beat them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Instead of, I know once I get to my 135 mark, I'm safe. And nowadays with social media and stuff, everybody know, you can't help but see the standings every now and then, but I don't watch it.
Yeah.
I know what my banker's asking me to make, and I make that number. Stockton Gray told me one time I used to, I'd look at the standings. I rodeoed with him my first 2 years, and Stockton he can be rough around the edges, but it was good, is what I needed. And he told me, he said, why don't you quit looking at that stuff? He said, if you win, they'll write about you in the sports news.
That's good.
And
Pretty
I
good,
was
though.
like, I'll be dang. There it is, And he would get off Facebook, get off and quit looking at that crap. I said, well, I just want to see. He said, they'll let you know if you win.
That's pretty good.
You don't look. I look every day.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's I'm media. I'm a fan. I love the sport. One of the questions I had, steer wrestling is lower. If you look at the standings, I guess maybe on the top end of it, it's lower than every other event.
Yep.
Why is that?
I think it's because the money's spread out so much. And I think that comes from lack of horsepower. I can go down a rabbit trail. This one, that comes from when four of us that can get along, find a horse we like, boom, and sometimes you'll see buddy groups of four kind of staying together and saying it. Sometimes not. But when you look way down, because I look at the same thing, and I'm not saying I don't ever look at it, because this time of year I do like watching it, especially the other events. Then when you go to the slack at Ellensburg, the Kev Roping's interesting. I'm watching reruns.
Exactly.
And because I'm a fan of the sport. But at the same time, there's times where, I got to go to this.
You're busy or whatever.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And it all changes so much anyways.
Yeah.
But this time of year, I like watching it. And I think the bulldogging, you're seeing guys turn it on here in the last 6 weeks of the season that have been cold for a while. And it just shifts that money around in a good way, but also in a kind of a sketchy way. Now that makes a Pendleton, a Mandan, a Sioux Falls that much more crucial.
I mean, it's reachable right there for a lot more guys now.
If 15th can pull 20 grand away from 20th, it's different. Yeah. But when 15th is 5 grand away from 25th,
yeah,
that just, or whatever, the numbers will check out like that gets.
For sure. So you said four guys, kind of talking about bulldoggers, four guys finding a horse they like that they jump in and they ride. Who are you rodeoing with this year?
Right now I'm with Cash Rob, Tyler Wagsback, Destin Jorgensen.
Gotcha.
Yeah, me and Wag made a deal last year after the finals. He let me haze for him last year at the finals. He's at Wag, he's a character.
He's a character.
He did. It was like third or fourth round after the round we were walking into the Thomas and Mack, and he said, "Hey, let's do this next year." I said, "Okay." He stuck his hand out for me to shake it. And I was like, "I'm telling the truth." He said, "Shake my hand." All right, I shook
like this is a deal.
Yeah, it was. Which Wag's the one guy out here now that I've rodeoed with the longest, the most consecutive. Yeah. It would have been Pearson. For Pearson, it probably would have been, I rodeoed about 2 years with Stockton, but I was with Pearson for a while, and then me, Pearson, and Wag, and then, things changed.
What's it like rodeoing with a guy that wins that much?
It's good, and I hope he hears this. He's the most aggravating human being on the face of the earth.
Just because he wins so much, I mean.
Just because he's Wag. No, and I got to say that, but there's nobody that's going to be more positive, more uplifting, and the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that it's there. And you talk about somebody that's dedicated to practice, him.
They say he practices more than anybody in the world.
He practices a lot. That joker, he does. He runs a lot of steers.
What about you? You stick with him or you kind of just watch, video, chill?
No, I won't run near as many as him anymore. I ain't going to even say I used to keep up with him. But when I was younger, Bo, when I was talking about Bo Campbell, Bo was one of the only ones who brought M-branded steers to the Southeast and to the Amateur Association. He had a rule in his Amateur Association. You had to run M-branded cattle. He knew what was good, and I remember there were days
Mexico.
We used to get home from school and the cattle pot, his pot would be backed up to the practice pen. There'd be 90 head of fresh ones standing there. And Bo, I've seen a lot of guys break in steers a lot of unique ways. I've seen guys do it through the bucking chute. I've seen guys do it a rope around them, kind of choke them down. And then there was Bo's way. And Bo would tag them worm them across the back, and then clip their horns. And if you clip their horns enough that a little blood comes out, they'll grow. It helps them grow. Well, they already had little horns. So you had a steer, 400-pound steer, fresh from Mexico, mad as a hornet with the bloody horns, and he made us hook up to him out of the rope and shoe. Like, this joker's coming at you. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that was high school for me, you know, and a lot of that to me now, like when you watch them guys practice, even like that Stetson Jorgensen, them guys run steers. It reminds me of that. And not that I wouldn't say I wouldn't do it or couldn't do it, but, you know, somebody told me the other day, so you kind of earned the right, you ain't got to. There's days I need to. Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
So are you a guy that goes in threes?
What do you mean?
2019 NFR, 2022, 2025?
No, I don't know what the heck the deal was. I went 14, 15, made it. 16, we tried that other deal, that association. I don't know if that's like
Elite Rodeo Association.
Yeah, ERA, now WCR. I'm kidding.
No, that's gone though too, right?
I know, I think so. So no good, no that year. 17, and that was when we picked up Scooter. We got Scooter in 16, all ERA year, and then 17, Pearson wins the world, riding Scooter. That's another cool fact that a lot of people never said. I rodeoed with the 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, 23 world champ. Wag, Erickson, Pearson.
That's wild.
And I'm the factor. You want to know what makes them guys win?
Who's the common denominator?
I'm kidding. I'm totally joking. But no, it ain't supposed to be 3-3-3. You know, I went 17, 18, 19, made it 20. Golly, what a year. Like, are they even going to have Vegas when you can't go in this? You can't, hey, just PRCA, we're going to have this. We promise. I believe you. You know, I mean, we didn't know. And I was kind of pea-hearted that year. Different things went on. Lost my granddaddy in July, you know, and he had a long battle with dementia, and that was a heavy deal on my family. So I fly home after the 4th and spent 2 weeks at home, turned a lot of rodeos out that you kind of needed, but once again, are they going to have the fun? Who knows? Yeah. 21, my own fault, you know, didn't make it. Brought a horse out here that I liked, that I had. He probably wasn't ready for it. And you just stayed close enough, you know, it kept you. And then by the time I switched horses, too late.
Yeah.
22, make it, dream year, window average. Normally I prepare for the NFR like never before. We used to go to Luke Branquino's and break in steers and get ready and run them. 22, I bought a pile of steers. I had 3 horses at my house that I knew I could catch 3 steers on. And I'd jump 10 a night. And I'd run 3 on this horse, 3 on this horse, and 4 on I'd rotate it. And then I showed up at the finals and rode Tyson of Curtis Cassie's and won the average, you know, won 150-something thousand. Best finals I ever had. And I thought, man, all I did was stayed out of my head, stayed at my house, did my thing, and was ready. Yeah. You know, you're ready. Sometimes I heard somebody say the other day that guy's got serious FOMO. I said, what is that? It's a fear of missing out. We all get it. I just have it bad. You know, I got to be out there. And then you go out there and you're sitting. And, you know, your practice lasts a couple hours and a couple guys go to the gym, but you're sitting. I'll tell you right now, with 3 kids at home, and I'm gone a lot throughout the year anyways, I'm going to be home when I can.
Yeah.
You know, and so 22 is great. 23, tore my pec. I didn't really make a big deal about it. I didn't do the Justy Cowboy Cross deal. It turns out you maybe could have, and it helped you financially because I know I didn't bulldog there for a couple months.
Yeah.
But coming off a good NFR, you're good. It's fine. Didn't really come back too early, but I wasn't back to me yet. And you didn't know it. You tell yourself you are, and I didn't. I bulldogged that year. I rodeo with Jesse Brown, Dakota Eldridge, and Curtis Cassidy. And Jesse and Dakota both made the finals. Phenomenal athletes. You know, I was in the gym with them. Should have made it. That was my fault. Last year, 24, kind of the same thing, man. And I've been hunting horses too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I said, Scooter was, you just always knew. Scooter Metallica are going to be there with Pearson. We're entered, we go, we show up, we leave with money. Somebody left with money.
Yeah.
You know,
every time.
And owning some of the horse, a little bit of that money was mine. So it was great. And then, you know, you throw in 20, 21, 22, you don't have it no more. Trying to get back in timing with the horse and all that. I didn't bounce back as good as I should have, but we're going to make them this year. And then
that's one of my questions I had for you. Most guys, when you set out your rookie year, you expect it to be linear. I'm going to make the first one. make them, and then maybe eventually rise to be a world champion. Like you have been.
Yeah.
You know what? I know it kind of brushes over. That's a lot of life you live, but what is that dynamic like?
Hey, and honestly, we would have to do like a deep podcast to do that, and we'll do that one day. And I'll just brush over it. But I'll tell you this much: desperation will cause a man to do things he had no idea he could do. One of them has to do with this rodeo, and like I said, it ain't something that I'll comfortable sharing now. But you talk about win 13,000 this week because I had to. One of those type situations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I learned to win through just, like I said, I never had my own horses going, and you learn to win and never had a whole lot. So when you won a little bit, oh man, look what I got. And I'll never forget, Stockton told me that one time when he asked me if I wanted to rodeo with him in 2012. I was a senior in college. My last semester was his first semester. So everybody thinks he came from Stockton Grace program. No, I trained Stockton to coach. He didn't train me to bulldog. No, I'm kidding, Stockton. I hope you listen to it. But he told me, he said, Irwin, there's one thing about you. He said, you ain't got a lot. He said, but when you win, he said, don't take that breath. Ever take that breath. You got to stay hungry. And I always thought it was interesting, guys that had everything that went and won. Because they're just doing it for
fun.
Because they want to be the best. I want to be the best. I needed the money.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And I looked at it. It shaped my practices sometimes ways I didn't need.
When
to
you
go.
say needed the money, I mean clarify that. Define that as. Are we talking wife, kids, mortgage?
No, on my own dime, right? And then 13, I rodeo and it don't go right, and I started to owe some folks. But they're all good people. One of them was Matt Reeves. He was on the show, and it was great. He was up here in the Northwest. He covered my fuel bill. I shouldn't have come to the Northwest, but I didn't. And Stockton even told me, don't do it. They all went home. I jumped in with Riley Duval and Matt Reeves, came up here. I learned a lot that fall, and I'm glad Matt did that for me. And then he let me pay him back, and it was great. And then I went home to work in the oil field. I was going to work a shutdown to get back to go rodeo, right? You got to do it on your own dime, and it cost a lot. And I'd made the Ram National Circuit Finals. That's what they called it then in Guthrie, Oklahoma.
I was in Guthrie.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And but I had planned on working. And another reason was it goes back to my granddaddy. The dementia got bad, and it was a lot on my mom, and it became a financial strain. And so one of the greatest prayers I ever prayed, and you can put this one on there, because I had some victories and the money came in, and it was the answer to a problem, right? And I remember saying, you felt bad for mom and everything back home. And if I can't be home, I can be helping somehow. And I said, Lord, give it to me. I don't want her to have to deal with it. Give it to me. And you know what he did? He dumped it in my lap. And that's the worst thing I ever could have prayed. Because years later, when I finally quit swimming, I said, I want you to take it, Lord. And he did. I mean, I was what I should have led with. You know what I'm saying? What I did. He did what I wanted him to. And people relied on me. This was before I had kids. I was married. And I think, too, that speaks volumes of my wife. Because she could have threw a fit. This is our money now, and she was really good about the way that it kind of got dispersed. Wonderful one my wife is. I don't deserve her. I almost said she don't deserve me, but I don't deserve her. And so to add to that, it's all ties into mine and Pearson's relationship, mine and Wag's, 2020 and 21. I lost my great uncle died in 21, and him and my granddaddies were brothers. And, they both lived with my mom, and they both had dementia at the same time. It's a crazy story, you know what I mean? And he was a cowboy. His name was George Campbell. He was the only reason I ever wanted to be a cowboy. And so 21, my friend, was at this rodeo. I was fixing to run my first year, and I woke up to a text, hey, you got to come home. It passed. And so I turned this whole week out in 21. But I had to go home. And I went home, come back, and that year the tour finale was in Salinas. And anyways, that had nothing to do with it. I should have had the finals name before you get here, but there's that roller coaster again. And to me, that'll be one day a good testimony that I'll stand in and tell one day, of I could have done this. I could have, or even this, but pride and stupidity and growth, all kind of got in the way. And like I say, I always will remember that. I did. I said, give it to me. And he did.
I think that's the first time I've ever heard somebody talk about praying the wrong prayer and it happening.
It's exactly what he wanted me to do and probably what he wanted me to say, but not really. He wants us to give it to him. And I didn't, and because it was so easy. The winning, the Ram Circuit Finals, man, I didn't have a vehicle, right? My last 3 years of college, I hitchhiked a horse all over this country. I could go tell y'all some crazy stories. I had a little car that I bought with my student loan money. Still paying that car. Bought a car. I called it the Gold Buckle. It was a gold Oldsmobile Alero. Called it the Gold Buckle, dude. The driver's side window would not stay up. It was broke, and I had a piece of wood wedged in it. And I was in this car, and I was working in this shutdown, and I was wanting to ride Pearson's horse, and I was wanting to rodeo Pearson. He had just made the NFR his first time. And every day when I'd come home, I was working in Plaquemine, Louisiana, in a chlorine plant. And every day when I'd come home, back at hour drive to his house, I was staying with him. He'd have horses saddled, steers penned. And we would just practice for me. He was helping me get ready. And he was the first one that ever made me practice. Okay, we made the Final Four. You got to be 3-5. Most time you don't want to put yourself in that situation. Just have a good practice. No, let's prepare for it. And I'll be dang, dude. I snuck through that deal all the way through, made the Final Four, and I was first out in the Final Four. And I was 3-2 or 3-3. Tied the arena at Lazy E. Tied the arena record with Leo Camarillo and Stockton Grace. Wow. That's a true story. And Stockton, I made that deal because Stockton won the year-end and the average for the Prairie Circuit. So I rode his coattail all the way to it. And then I got there and I won the deal and I won a $20,000 voucher to a truck, dude. And I walked in Mike Bailey Motors in Okmulgee, and they know Q-Ball, he knows, I know the Bailey family well. And so obviously through college and silly mistakes, I ain't got the best credit. I'm not wanting anybody to co-sign with me if this is going to work. And I asked him, I want to buy this truck. I remember it was a 2-wheel drive, silver. I don't know. I had the silver salamander or something, what I called it. But it was,
what is the name?
I don't know, man. We ain't got a name for this bus. We got to call this bus something.
I don't think he has a name. This is his bus.
Renegade. So the Renegade, $48,000 for this truck. Cole runs my credit and everything, and he's trying to help me. He's like, oh, this ain't working. But he knew I wanted it. I'm like, well, here's this voucher. Okay. Well, he calls his finance lady in there. And, dude, this is the biggest Mickey Mouse-looking voucher you ever seen. Good for one truck, and it was $1,500, $2,500, $3,500. You had to get a pickup up to amount of $20,000. I mean, it looked like my kids drew it. And I handed it to him, and he hands it to her, and she comes back with the keys.
And you got the voucher. There ain't no way I'm getting no truck with this thing.
I'm thinking like, really?
This ain't gonna work.
And so now that 6 trucks later, I'm still in the truck. I can go into a dealership now, and I ain't got to have that voucher. I can buy a truck with my credit. It's a cool story, but it was just, and it all led from self-destruct. And then, what happens when you look the right way and climb out. So to answer your question, I didn't mean to go down a rabbit hole there.
Oh, you're great.
The hips and valleys, or the peaks and valleys, came from, and I think it'll be great when training my kids, because I want my kids to rodeo. Look what you guys got one in the Chevron. Look what we got one in the Bulldog. I mean, it's stupid for me to say, you shouldn't rodeo. It should go. So this would be great when we train my kids is, look, man, what's going on around you? You have to be able to business and person. You have to be able to, okay, it's time for me to go work now. I got to leave that. And I would take it with me. And a lot of times in the arena, that it was emotion. It was pure emotion. I got to win this. Well, why? You're good, Kyle. You want somebody like, no, it ain't about the standards. I got to win this. And looking back, man, if I'd have been steady Freddy, it took so much pressure off of me, but it would come in big chunks and I would fight the wolves off with it. And then I might have a dry streak for a little bit because I took that breath. And what Stockton said, you can use it in so many areas of life, but rodeo was one.
So you Stockton, Pearson, Ty Erickson, Stetson, Dakota Eldridge, Matt Reeves. I mean, obviously a lot of great, amazing NFR qualifying bulldoggers. Is there similar mindsets, different? Did you take something a little bit from here, a little bit from there? What can you say about the guys you've rodeoed with?
Yeah, absolutely. And the first one, I didn't mention him yet, but he's our director now, is Riley Duvall. I was hitchhiking rides around circuit rodeo in 2010, and I stayed at Cody Woodward's place on his ranch in South Dakota and worked with him all summer in Bulldog. And then I made my way back down for the Dodge City Week. And there's a guy that I mentioned earlier, Victor Dex from Summer, Alabama. Him and my mom were childhood friends. It's pretty unique. Another steer wrestler from Alabama. There's only 3 of us, and he's 5 miles down the road. Same thing, Bo Campbell helped him kind of get his start. And, in the Bulldog, and Victor's dad had bucking horses. Victor worked all kind of mess, but I'll never will forget. He told me, man, I got to go to these rodeos. Who do I get with? And I named off the trades list, and Tom Duvall and Riley Duvall were on that trades list. He said, you get with the Duvalls. He said, they ain't never not helped anybody. They'll help you. And sure enough, I rode Tom's horse for like 2 years, made circuit finals with him. So that was great. So yeah, to add Riley to that list, every one of them's mentality is the same in one sense and different in another. And the same in the sense it would be every one of them's a killer, man, in a good way.
Yeah.
If any grandmas watches, oh my God, every one of them's a killer in the sense of back them in a corner or put them in a situation and let them do what they do. Oh man, it's phenomenal to watch. I listened to a podcast the other night with Chad Wright and Joe Rogan. And Chad was praising Joe about, your presence, and you're the best at what you do, whether it be podcasting, jump roping, or mountain climbing. If you can be in the presence of the best, that's a gift, man, and soak it up. And when you're around those guys, when you it's different. Yeah. It is different, man. And Rowdy Parrott, I got to throw that dude in that corner just because his size. And I'm not saying anything about it, but put him up beside Tyrus. Put me beside Tyrus.
Yeah.
And then put us in a 10-header in Las Vegas, and Rowdy holds his own. Wait a minute. Because he's really good at what he does. He's a killer. Yeah. In the sense of executing at steer wrestling.
Yes.
Now, he'll also hold his precious daughter with the most gentle hand. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Unique-wise, Jesse Brown is at the gym religiously. Rowdy Parrott might not be. Dakota Eldridge, it's funny, one time Jesse was doing an interview and he said Dakota was bougie.
Bougie.
Yeah, bougie. That's it. Yeah.
Do you know? I don't know if he knows that word. You know what bougie means? Shut up.
Yeah, he's a little bougie.
Yeah, he's
but and Dakota, I won't say bougie, but cleans up good. But then you'll see that sucker in November will be 10 days in the mountains looking for an elk. Did you go to the gym today, Kyle? Yeah, but I can't climb this mountain. You know what I'm saying? Like in a different category of, and that was what was so unique to me about rodeo. College, you got a little broader, from high school, but professional, you're pulling these guys from Oregon, Alabama, Kansas, throwing us in a rig together. And, it's pretty unique to kind of figure out we're all come from the same country, America, but a lot of people do a lot of things a little different. Really very different. Really.
I got to ask, I'd say one of the most, I guess, since I've known you, but I think probably to the whole rodeo world, the most unique things about Kyle Irwin and the things that you're known for is your faith in Jesus.
Yep.
Tell me about that. And coming off what we've been talking about, everybody's known for doing their own thing. Everybody's known for doing it their way. How has your faith in God played into your rodeo journey?
Huge. And I swear one day I'm going to write a book, but I think every cowboy could. And like I said, it first and foremost grew up grounded in church. My mom, I always say, she beat the hell out of me. It wasn't none of it in me. She beat it out of me. But I'm kidding. I needed it.
It was all out of there.
Yeah, all little boys do. But grew up, surrounded by my grandmother singing in the choir. Yet, the world does what the world does. And here goes Kyle off to college, out of high school. Always minded my manners in high school. And I did in college too, don't get me wrong. But like I said, I could have self-destructed just as easily. There's no way I could sit and look at an alcoholic or somebody addicted to drugs and say, man, how could you? How? Probably wouldn't be that hard. probably wouldn't be that hard. And I could be right there too. Now, in the same sense, you got to learn which way to walk, obviously, but I was in those same scenes. I was around those same people. I just always knew there was a higher authority, man, a higher power, and I always felt conviction when I should have. And a lot of times when I felt it younger, I always say my college days, but it was even after college, you didn't go the way the conviction was maybe trying to steer you, the way the Holy Spirit was trying to steer you. And looking back, it's kind of like that prayer I prayed. Maybe it was some of the best things that happened to me, because it will help me to live out my faith in this sense. I think it was Peyton Manning said one time, preach the gospel daily, use words when necessary. You can tell so much about somebody by their fruits. The word tells us that. And I've had rotten fruit in my life before, and I'd like to think now that some ripe fruit is starting to show, and people see that. And the greatest gift, obviously, was the free gift of salvation that he gave us through the cross, through the resurrection, through it all. But was the life lessons, man, those valleys and those peaks. The peaks are great. They're great. But you learn so much in the valleys. You learn so much about yourself. The humiliation of a car you called the gold buckle. I needed that, man. I needed every bit of it. Now, not everybody needs that. I get it. But I did. I needed that. And then you insert my wife. I swear she was a godsend, man. She was so good for me at the time when I needed her. And then like the little story I told y'all with my granddad and my great uncle, not many women fresh off the starting blocks to getting married are going to be okay with that. You know, they want a house, they want this, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. She's a very selfless person. And her family, you know, back me, they're great people too. And they totally understood, but they're Christian people. That's the difference. Not just people, they're Christian people. So they understand. Understanding is so crucial, but understanding comes through trials and tribulations and handling it with discernment. And I heard a guy, well, what was discernment? That's a big word. And discernment is just knowing that you know that you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you get that through reading the word, through opening the Bible. I go to a men's Bible study. It's a small group, 4 guys every Wednesday morning. And we read whatever the date is that day. Say it's August 22nd. We read the 22nd chapter of Proverbs. And you just keep doing that because there's 30, 31 Proverbs. So, you know, every month you just read another chapter. And I heard Jace Robinson on a podcast from Duck Dynasty. He said at one time, a guy was asking him how to work on his walk with Jesus. He said, you read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John every day. Well, you can't read them all one day. Well, just read them. And when you get done with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, he said, then what? He said, then read them again. He said, how long do I do that? He said, for the rest of your life. For the rest of your life. Because every situation can be different, but the word stays the same. But it speaks to you differently. It's very incredible. And when I finally humble myself, and the whole situation with my granddaddy, my great uncle, and that prayer, like I said, I could do a podcast just on that. That is what intensified my walk, my faith. As a family, we prayed together. You know what I'm saying? I spoke at both of them funeral. My own granddaddy, I spoke at his funeral. And where do you get the courage, you know, to stand up and your lips are shaking, your voice is trembling? To do that. One, you want to honor a man that meant something to you. And 2, apparently your family thinks good enough of you. Well, why is that? Well, they see something. They see something.
Wow. So were you always good at talking, or was it something you had to kind of grow on? Or, I mean,
no, my mom, I'm going to blame this on her too. She had me in every dang club. I'm talking about, you name it, I did. At the Baldwin County Junior Cattlemen, I was president the first year and I was chaplain the next year. So I was praying in front of 40-something kids plus parents. Junior executive. Mom, I don't want to do this. You need to do this. It'll look good on your resume. Mom, I'm on a rodeo. Oh, hush, you might get a job one day. Once again, she's running for mayor, like I said. But she had me involved in these deals and put me in these awkward situations. I get so mad. I didn't want to do it. And she used to tell me, one day you're going to thank me. No, I'm not. I'll never thank you for making me do this. I did it. I do. I thank her for it because it'll take me so far. Not necessarily being able to talk good, but yeah, being able to speak good, but being able to be in front of people. Cinch. I love Cinch. They're my first sponsor, and I hope they're my last. Lead, don't follow. It's the greatest slogan, except Jesus. Follow Jesus, but lead. We need leaders in life, man.
Yeah.
One of the greatest is there's a preacher in Jacksonville, Florida, named Joby Martin. Look him up on Instagram, man. He's a tatted up, big beard, and brings the word of God with some authority. And he called guys out. Yo, man, stand up, lead your family.
Yeah.
Be a good husband, be a good father. How do I do that? It starts off, be a good person. Why do I do that? Read this book.
There you go.
Read this book. I get to represent FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, the rodeo division. And, man, that came about a couple years ago. Blake and Winston Quisenberry, Blake Smith and Winston Quisenberry run that deal. And they reached out to me because somebody told them that I'd talked to them about Jesus. And all it was a buddy come to me with some trouble. You know what I mean? And man, I'm telling you, I used to would say, throw your fist up and fight. I used to say, run behind them. And when they ain't looking, get even. No, man, the more that you don't do that, the more you realize it's so much easier to do it this way.
Mm-hmm.
And so through gossip, a good thing happened. And now I love representing that company. And they sent me Bibles, and you see a homeless guy on the side of the road and you're thinking, I won't give him no money. Give him that Bible.
Yeah.
What can I do with this? Save your life. That's what you can do with it. You know what I mean? Well, I need food. There's food for your soul, brother. And the best thing is, if they don't want to keep it and they hand it off to the next guy, thank you. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just simple little tactics that we could do that I try to do. And it started out, my mother-in-law did it through what she called blessing bags. She would put a Ziploc bag together with a devotional in it, toothpaste, a travel toothbrush, deodorant, and a $10 gift card to Subway. For Subway, I don't know if you know there's more Subways in America than any other chain restaurant or
I did not know
fast
that.
food. It is.
I didn't know that.
It could have changed
I
recently.
figured McDonald's.
You would think, but think of every truck stop down Subway. There's Subway everywhere. So it's the most common. And I remember one year at Reno, I did that because there was a Cowboy church group there at Reno, and they were handing out free devotional. I said, you mind if I take all these? Told them what I was going to do. They, me as I could. I remember Pearson came in the trailer. I had Ziploc bags laying everywhere. And I did all that, but I just felt convicted. You know what I'm saying? Used to, you did it because, and I've noticed guys will do this. I'm not pointing fingers, but I need to win. I'm going to make sure I say that prayer today.
Mm.
Now, he loves it. He wants you to pray to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, about yesterday when that one popped in your mouth.
Yeah.
And like I say, I'm guilty of it. I dang sure ain't gonna sit here and call anybody out for being, hypocritical, because I'm a liar. I ain't a thief, but I've done wrong. Guilty of it. But, when you learn just to daily do that in conversation with him and opening the word, now that's a simple prayers.
I heard literally just this morning, I was watching a YouTube video, and Cameron Haynes, I don't know if you know him, he's a podcaster too,
Bow hunter, maybe?
Bow hunter,
Yep.
does a lot of hunting videos, and he's this movie about hunting bears. And I watched the first 2 minutes, and it's a trailer. They're just hyping up this bear hunt. He's hunting an 8-foot bear. He's never killed an 8-footer. Maybe no one has. And then some guy he's like praying over the hunt. And he goes, pray over the hunt. And he goes, he didn't pray over killing the bear. He prayed over whatever would glorify God. And I said, literally this one, I'm like, man, dude, because you just pray
Right.
for the win so much.
Right.
But they come and goes, it's just like pray for whatever can glorify God.
I had a lady tell me she works for us, Miss Paula Bowler, super sweet lady and very strong in her faith. If you come to our office at the cattle barn, I'm talking about truck driver, cattle buyer, cattle seller, whatever, and you maybe mention that somebody in your family is sick or you are having a tough time with something, she will pull you to the side, rub oil on her hands, hold your hands, and pray with you over that matter right then. How many times people say, hey, will you pray for me? I will. How many people stop and do it right then?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it right now. Well, I meant when, it's embarrassing. Why is it embarrassing? Well, who prayed? Trust me, buddy.
Yeah.
He hears, he's listening. And the fact that Miss Paula does that, what a display, and you asked about, my faith, people see it. Well, it's because of people like you and y'all and your brother. And when I found out about your brother, we get talking about it. Well, now at the Slacks, we're sitting around. Hey, man, I read this the other day in 2 Corinthians. Oh, dude, I know. Look at it like this. When you go to doing that, now you go to busting up history before you know it, you can have somebody that would never have anything to do with the Bible kind of interested in it because you bring up history or something. The movie 300, such a silly movie, I know. But when I found out that King Xerxes is mentioned in the Bible, whoa.
Change it.
Well, yeah, now let's look at a map. Let's look at some history. Let's look at the way some things were. And to me, that's that little bit of just sliding that cookie. God give you a cookie every now and then and let you know, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Back in January, this is the last I'll say.
No, you're good.
Back in January, go to Kentucky for the American. I love the Kentucky. I mean, I love the American. I love, that area is beautiful, but January, it was cold up here. It was miserable. Well, you know what's an hour down the road from Lexington? The exact replica of Noah's Ark.
Yeah.
The Ark.
Actually?
I mean,
full size deal. I've never been.
By the Bible, they did the measurements on this joke. And it's huge. If you get a chance and you're to go see it, because it will help you to realize exactly how two of every kind were on that. I used to think, oh, come on.
Oh, come on.
I get it. I totally see it. I mean, and the way that it was all engineered and all, man, it was so unique. But a couple, I bet there was 15, 20 guys, Bullards, what y'all doing today? Hey, man, we're going to ride up here and check this out. Yeah, we'll go.
That's pretty cool.
If I have any kind of gift at all, it might be sometimes kind of not necessarily center of attention, but get some folks kind of cutting up laughing.
Peer pressure is what you're saying.
What if they're watching you, where's he going? And they watch me walk over to that, art encounter, and now they follow me. And you just let the Holy Spirit do what it does. We just got to get them there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I heard a guy say one time, if I could give somebody the Holy Spirit, would punch them in the mouth, especially guys that aggravate you. Well, I just walk around hitting everybody. You can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't do that. And so whatever I can do, it's our duty to let folks know about the gospel. And dude, that was like a layup. You want to go to this deal? What is it? Just come check it out.
Yeah.
It costs a little bit. I'll pay for it. You're going to get rewarded tenfold.
Uh-huh.
You mean money's actually going to show up in your account? No, you're not seeing what I'm seeing here. And there was a whole swarm of folks that went to that deal and read about it. And before you know it, now they're asking questions.
Yeah.
Now they're, well, hey, let's look at it right here. It's in Genesis. It says it right before you know it. And so
we got on Flint Rasmussen's show.
He's a blast.
He's hilarious.
Dude, so one time somebody told me I look like Eric Church when I put glasses on, aviators.
You kind of do.
I see that now. Yeah.
And he made me out in Vegas. I'd get on his show and bring the aviators. And he said, Eric Church. And they went nuts. It was just me.
They wanted you to sing a song and you were like, I ain't got that, but I preached the Lord real quick.
That's right.
No, we were on there and it was me, Ty, and Braden. It was actually a cool experience for us because this is the first time we've been on a live stage ever and together. So it was cool. It felt right. But one of the last things I said is like rodeo is one of the last industries, the Western industry is one of the last industries you can openly talk about God about. And actually you take your hat. I interviewed Joe B in the documentary that is coming out. He said, what's a cowboy? He goes, when prayer, take your hat off before the rodeo. Dang right. That's what a cowboy is. Yeah. Last industry that really does it. And so it's just cool to talk to you about it. Cool to see people, somebody in the country and people in this country still putting forth the gospel, still preaching Jesus. And so I'm glad that you're doing that. I'm glad you're preaching.
Hey, and y'all are a lot to thank for that because, you say we're not the last industry to do it. We're the last ones to not be censored.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You think about that. Think about the platform. I wonder what some of those, what Tim Tebow said that they didn't record. That they didn't let us hear. You know what I mean? For real. And so, thanks to y'all for that. But with that, I mean, it's kind of like our freedoms here in America. They're great until somebody's doing something you don't want done. Yeah. Like, man, I wish we could kind of make it where they can't do that. So the good with the bad, you're hearing, podcasts go both ways. But I'll say this. I've not been a big podcaster the last year. I've gotten y'all's help with that. And I've done a couple others and they're fun to me. But you're seeing more people openly do it. And I'm not one of those guys that turns on the news and like panics. But if you read that book I was just talking about, that Bible, flip to the back, I think a lot of people ought to say it.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's things going on that, you know, I'm not saying it's over tomorrow. There's scholars been trying to prove that for years, and matter of fact, tells us don't. The son don't even know. I know, but he don't. He's the one coming back, so just chill.
Mm-hmm.
But go be fishers of men. But it is a timetable. There is a clock ticking, you know, and so thanks to y'all for allowing people to say it, and other podcasters to allow people to say it, because that's like that Chad Wright. He told Joe Rogan, and said, you might be called. And Joe, you can tell nobody ever put Joe on the spot like that, because Joe had Wesley Huff on there. I enjoy listening to that dude. He had a lot of smart biblical scholars that preached the gospel without meaning to. They were just telling him what he wanted to hear, but that's the way it works. But Chad told him, and said, you might be called. And you could tell, he was like, what do you mean, on the phone? You know, kind of tried to make a joke about it. And Chad went laughing and said, buddy, you better hang on.
He said, what if you're one of God's elect?
Yeah. Yeah.
I watched that podcast. I watched like 20 minutes of it, and I saw that part.
It's long. It's long. I like Chad. He's good. He gets into it.
It's amazing to see. You're one of the first people that came up and started talking to Braden when he started rodeo, and had listened to the Kingdom Vision podcast, and I think really, because he's a great, amazing believer in Christ, but I think he was only 20 years old. It was amazing to see a cool older guy like you go up to him and kind of commend him on that and make him feel better. You know, I don't know. I think it's such a community, and everything. No matter how good of a amazing Christian man that Cole is, it matters what another Christian comes up and says to him. You know what I'm saying? Everybody affects everybody, and how they treat people and how they act and what they say, because you never know what people are going through, I think.
Hey, man, the gate is narrow. It tells us that. And what your brother was doing at a young age, you're out there on a limb. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
And not that anybody's going to cut that limb down, but the enemy makes us think that it is.
That you're all alone.
So we jump off. I'm going to go back with the crowd. And the best thing I can think to do is, and I was talking to Mark Joyner today. We on the way over here, we were texting some stuff, and there was some scripture he wanted me to look at, and something I told him to look at. I just love randomly doing that. It might go right back to talking about football or something. But what your brother was doing, like, we're to encourage that. Yeah. You know, because you look at it, like everything that he's saying, it's uplifting, it's helpful, it's healthy. Every box that we should check, you know, you check, and how many people tell him, hey, keep that up. Keep it up. You know, some people might say, I enjoy what you said or what you do, but say another one. Yeah. Another one. You know, and because everybody's saying, no, you're kind of square, man. We don't really want to talk about that. Boy, if they only knew.
Man, there's so much negativity in the world, but I've never seen this guy be negative. I've never seen him be nothing but uplifting and positive. So thank you for being you, Tom.
Yeah.
Last question we'll wrap up with. I'm curious what your answer is going to be after we just talked about this. 35 years old. Are you just steady Freddy? This one-liners are crazy too. Steady Freddy.
Yeah.
Are you steady Freddy and just riding this thing out and just going day by day? Or do you have, hey, I want to be a world champion one day, and that's something I want to get to accomplish?
I told Will Loomis a couple of years ago at the finals, everybody wants to be the world champ. And I do. 100%. I do. But I want to make money at this. And the way I see it, at the end of the year, the guy with the most money, they give the buckle and the saddle to. And if at the end of the year, that is my reward. Now, hear me when I say this, because this is stepping out on that limb. But I've told myself, and I've told the Lord, and when praying and talking, that you put me on that stage and put that microphone in front of my mouth, and it would be, it's not Amy anymore. What's the girl's name?
Is it Janie?
Haley Novak.
Or Janie. And they put that, and everybody gets quiet in that building. We've heard it, and however many hundreds of thousands of people watching on TV. What do you say? You know, and I think in that very moment, me looking back through this and everything went through, and hopefully see your family up there smiling. Thank you, God, for this opportunity that maybe somebody's listening to my voice tonight and grows deeper in knowing you through, hey, man, this guy, he didn't do it for, I'm the best, I'm the first person from Alabama. If me or Nelson do it, then nobody from the state of Alabama's ever won a gold buckle in the sport of rodeo.
Any event?
I think I was first average title. Maybe not. I had a bull rider one year almost do it. But no, you know, and so, that would be the tip of the iceberg. That'd be it on that stage. Yes, being a world champ is 100% in the radar of what I want, but more importantly, is to make some money while I'm doing this. I think I'll always be involved with the game. I love making horses, selling horses. I help produce take some of the steers of Southeast Circuit. Always be involved with it. But there's an end, and I say it's this year. My oldest son Trip played baseball, made All-Stars. There was rumor of, maybe going all the way to Little League World Series. I thought that was a bit much because it was coach pitch. But they won state. You know what I mean? They went all the way. I mean, it was like Little League World Series.
Sorry, that was probably the funniest thing I heard.
There's a guy on the field with a credit score and a mortgage. Like, we don't need to go hash it out for the national title when somebody's daddy is pitching. You know what I mean? Like, that was I'm sorry, man. It's expensive. My God.
I was thinking you're 14, 15 years old when you're talking about going to the World Series.
He's 8.
I think that's a little much.
He's 8. Well, that's where I love the rodeo. Y'all talking about it earlier, rodeo. Like, we experienced a little bit this year with the baseball, and it's great. The wonderful people, but golly, you're talking about committed. I mean,
and coach pitch baseball.
Oh yeah, and then but because next year he's kid pitching, we want him on our team. I'm not kidding. And I live an hour from Destin. You want to talk about some serious lessons?
Yeah.
Travel ball. I mean, hey, it gets to be a lot, and so that's where rodeo. I'm just like, oh. No, thank you. This feels like home. But I want my kids to do what they want to do, and I want to make sure I'm there. Yeah. So there's a timeline. Now, does that speed up, hey, we got to hurry up and get this gold buckle knocked out? No. But it dang sure makes some practices a little more meaningful. Used to be practicing because, the future's a long way away now. The end is closer than further. I guess I didn't word that right, but
the end is closer than farther away.
Now, let me rephrase that. Especially for all my sponsor stuff, because I want to go around.
Don't cut me, please.
I'm going to go around doing
I still got more time.
I'm going to go around just pumping these kids up, No, but
it's funny, dude.
I don't think I'll leave the Southeast. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think my goal is to still be jumping steers when my youngest son starts. He's 4, so he'll jump his first steer freshman high school is 14, 10 years. I'll be 45 in 10 years. Matt Reeves, I hope he hears this.
Stud.
Is over 45 and is still competitive at this level. I ain't trying to hang with you on that, Matt. But I do want to be jumping them when my youngest son is. And then we can enter some amateur rodeos together. Maybe I'll go to them their first year circuit rodeos and then exit scene left. But, man, I've just been given too much. This sport has given me too much through the Lord. You know what I mean? He has provided the opportunities. That's why I tell people it's crazy the amount of money I've made jumping off a horse, wrestling a steer, a cow, man. I tackle farm animals for a living, and he has provided for it through that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Grandma wanted me to go to college because we're going to need to enter the workforce one day. I might not ever work for somebody because rodeo provided opportunities that nobody saw coming. That's huge.
Praise the Lord. Let's freaking rodeo.
Amen.
Let's freaking rodeo. Thanks for coming on, bro.
Thank you. Enjoy it, guys.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again. We need the good stories.
Yeah,
I knew that this was going to be a return, but we got a lot more stuff to talk about.
That's right.
Thanks a lot, Kyle.
Yep.
Thanks.